Okay, here we go again, as promised. My post last night I put up, you guys are going to see a kick-ass 2000. And here we go. This belongs to a gentleman, call him Kenneth. I don't know if he wants his name out here, but he's got, he purchased this radio for me. This was my personal 2000. We spent months on this radio in between working on this and that. And I got it built, got to enjoy it for about a couple months. And I get a call from this very enthusiastic gentleman who ends up buying the radio. And he loved it. As usual with my Frankensteins, he had a little bit of a hiccup. He sent it back. We took care of it. We sent it back to him. After using it for a while, I guess he's decided that he's having to do too much work outside the radio to maybe drive different types of components that want different drives. So he was messing around with two intermediate driver amps. And it's my understanding, and I guess that came to be kind of a pain in the butt. So he called me, he says, 409, can you make this thing act like it's got 2 amps in it? Well, yeah, we can. And we did. And it only took a damn year. We have a 4-pill birdcage module under here and a Ranger heatsink. And it comes down about an inch. The radio had to be put on stilts. And we did confirm with him that this was going to be okay. Since it's been here, well, he sends it to me. He said, okay, can we do the amp thing? Sure. And we learned quickly that, I kind of knew it was going to be a struggle, but we got it. Placement is an issue. Making bomb blankets, making sure the gauge of wire for 42879s is adequate, making sure the power supply is adequate. You got to remember, the power supply for this unit is for the amplifier, even on the regular Super Duties. That separate power supply is in that speaker to solely run the board we put in there. So that's kind of where we did our trickery with getting them dual power. He has basically kind of, like, this is my bench setup here, but he's basically that with this control moved to the front of the speaker, and he can turn his voltage up and down there, get his 2 different reactions out of the amplifier that he wants. The first thing is, since it's been here, so we said, yeah, we'll take that on. He's like, okay, just do whatever you need to do. Go through it, make it the best one you ever built. Well, at the time he bought it, it was the best one I ever built. But as the parts file grows and my ideas take off, there are 2 radios like this we're going to build. One is going to George Plockton in Texas, very good friend of mine. It's a realistic TRC 400 series. I don't remember these guys. It's the one with you'll see it very soon. His is going to have the same deal in it, but his came with pretty tall features on it. So that's where we came up with the idea to do it in that one. But then, I got to talking to Ken. He's like, well, that's cool. So we've got his speaker also matches. We'll stand up at the proper height next to it. His other speaker, we are sending him hardware for, so he can extend all 4 feet, and then he'll be able to, everything will sit level all the way across his table. So the moral to the tale ends up being that we he wanted to throw everything at it he could, make it the best he could out of whatever I could get. So, I mean, we could have went super nuts, and honestly, the biggest problem was getting that 4-pill to calm down and to get the radio where it doesn't see it. We got all that to happen. Custom power supply is going to be good. But then, since it's been here, waiting for all this other stuff to get worked out, Bluetooth frequency counter module pooped. So we put a brand new frequency counter board inside of the driver board, put the seconds on the clock. So he's got, when his radio's off, he sees that. Seconds count off. It's kind of a parlor trick, but it works pretty good. CBPA is still his standby. It used to be a standby for 2 pillows inside the unit. And he also has now these nifty little Roger beat buttons. Now, why does he have 2? And why are they momentary? Well, this thing counts through 13 different beeps. And we have it set up in a fashion where, and if he wants to see which beep he's on without going nuts, he can turn his mic gain all the way down. And then, if you'll notice, We'll push this a couple times. There we go. Now, even with his mic gain down, okay, every time you push the button, a little general action going on there. Let's see here now. Ah. So he pushes it, and that'll be the one he hears. There's 13 of them bad fellas in there. Now, once he finds the one he wants, or you can take it all the way down. This is the down button. Now, it does go all the way to one setting and then stops. Right now, I'm trying to get it. Right now, I'm trying to get it on the off. My brownie just decided to chirp off. Well, we're not there yet. There we go. One more, I think. There we go. Now we're off. Sorry, guys. That was a little annoying. Anyway, he pushes these buttons. It's kind of hard for me to hold the mic up and hold the camera and key it and change it. But he goes 13 up and 13 down. And he can he can use his mic as a talkback, even with his mic gain turned all the way down, to go through and himself find the tone he wants without broadcasting it. And it's a carrier, obviously. That's why you can still go to an off channel if you can do this. Or just sit there and annoy everybody. It doesn't matter. It's like you're throwing a dead key. But pick out your beep, and then that's the beep you're on. It's pretty nifty. His echo board has been updated to a better echo board, and we were gonna put the recorder thing. I've done this a few times. Some radios like it, some radios don't. You just basically take cord off a phone, your current phone, it gets spliced off. We tap it into the audio, and the mic gain basically becomes like a Watergate or a recorder, like some of you guys want. With the amp and everything that ended up being in this radio, that is not a good idea. So we foregone that. What he will have, however, is a variable talkback that we'll probably put on the back. At that point, he's got the same message channels. Got his lowers. Both of them is the first set of uppers. And so it goes, that's normal. Both sets of uppers. High all the way up to 2084, 2804, 280450. So there's all the goodies on the regular. No, that's the radio. Now let's get to the balls in the box. I'll be right back. All right. So our supplies are on, and just like in his supply, which is going to be on, which is actually on the panel, this supply array is something we just came up with on the final check of getting ready to send it back. So this would be his low. Basically, this supply is what we're doing. This supply is 30 amp switch mode. Turn it down to 10 all the way up to like 14.5. Well, that's fine. But it's 14.5 is where it stops. I don't want to manipulate the reference circuit. And besides that, once you really pass whatever this thing's got in it originally, you're starting to stress all the components behind it because they're not made for it. So what we did is we turned this one down to like 10 volts. Now at 10 volts, this one will actually make a little bit more current. But what we did to offset the voltages and to give us a better range of target, we used this little 5 volt, 25 amp in series. Moved this control to the front of the speaker where it's going to be. And instead of having a high-low, he can just dial it up and down. Now, when he's got his dial turned all the way down, he doesn't want to mess with this supply at all. The cover down. There. This control is on the front of the speaker. But turned all the way down, and here's his variable power. When we do these, for you guys, when we do these clarifier conversions, part of that kit that we designed comes with a two gain. And you take your tone and it goes on the small one. That big knob goes away. The small one, it just becomes a dual gain. And this back one, we make your RF power, your amp power. So our coaxial dynamics is getting calibrated. So we have to go old school with this one. 5,000 watt scale, which you'll never put 5,000 watts through this meter for real. What we're going to do is we're reading the top scale. Okay. Turn it all the way down. Now it's got about a 200 watt dead key. Let's give him some audio. Turn the mic in. Audio. Now take a good look at that. You're reading the top scale. Ooh, we don't have the lid on there, so it's about a 100 watt dead key. Let's do that again and get the mic away from the monitor radio. He's actually got 75 watt dead key. Swing about 3 solid with it turned down. Now that's what he's going to use to drive one specific piece of equipment. Okay, sorry, my Browning was. I keep it's a habit. I just keep wanting to look at my Browning. Anyway, it's instead of having a designated high-low, he's going to have this potentiometer on the front of his gig. He's just going to turn it all the way up. Now he wanted to see originally. I thought we talked about 400 watts. I've had this radio doing 6 with a gnarly squeal, and misbehaving like hell on sideband. Now the radio behaves on every mode. Sometimes, guys, just because an amp will do 500, 600, 700 peak watts, especially when you're putting it in a transceiver, doesn't mean you should make it do 500, 600, 700 peak watts. But we pushed it a little on this, so now we've got the supply turned all the way up. About 490 watts of peak. Pretty damn close to 5. Sorry about my shaky hands. Now we can turn the carrier up and get a little more forward get it on out of it, but probably not much. Here we go. There's a solid almost 5. So that's it. Now that's all coming out of this little 4-pill we got down here. Looks kind of strange, but and I dated a couple girls that look kind of strange, but they were fun to play with. This radio is awesome, guys. Kenneth, we are going to. I said there's been changes even since I talked to you, buddy. I wanted this radio to go back and not be a problem child. We have a DAC that's back right now that's a problem child. And it's the only. We've never had a DAC come back here for anything after I build them the way I build them, but this one did. So we're gonna find out what's going on with that. But all these radios, it takes time to figure out how you're going to stuff 500 peak watts in the bottom of a Cobra 2000 and have everything still work. Especially we've got clarifiers split. We've got carriers that we can take anywhere we want. The radio is actually volted now. I usually don't do that to a 2000, but we needed this one to go ahead and do its business. Anyway, the unit is volted. We usually don't do that to these, but I needed him to have as much forward as he could get. Now we're going to see what kind of numbers he gets if he's happy with this. And I try to get you guys to put these in your radios, not because, don't get me wrong, anytime you add power to a radio of any kind, it's an enhancement on the band. However, usually you go to this degree, it's because you're trying to make your system smarter. And when I say that, you guys have heard me talk about broken connections, and I don't mean busted connections. I mean anything you can screw on, unscrew, plug in, unplug that is not soldered down and electronically bonded. When you have a radio, then your driver amp, And in between that, if you're smart, you got an SWR bridge, and after that, okay, you're talking how many jumpers, how many broken connections, how many devices in line that have an opportunity to just make you want to go see a shrink. If you get your driver, if it's possible, to get rid of a couple of links in the chain by going to, you can buy $29.95. You'll enjoy it for about 6 months if you're lucky. I got a 2970 N3 here. Won't take an amp. I don't. I do know what it's about, but I'm not going to go into that now. But we just basically ripped the amp off, put a cover on the bottom of it, and it's a 60 watt 2950 now. It's brand new. So, I mean, not all these radios from Ranger are going to be what you guys want for long, is my experience thus far, especially in the last year and a half. I've had so many 2995s come through. But when you go to this extent, it's because you want to eliminate some of those weak links in your chain. Now, this device cuts out an intermediate device that just lets him go straight to his bomb, whatever it is. And a couple of them, fat man and a little boy, from what I understand. So, we tailored it. If I don't, and here's another thing, if I don't know, and you got to remember, pretty soon, 518, my partner up here is going to be running this bench. That's going to be another video. But, when you guys want us to do this stuff, there is no blueprint. Here, 409, make it do this. Okay. There is no instructions to put a 4-pill in a 2000. I'm lucky in the fact that when I was in broadcast, they taught us how to make bomb blankets, or shields, what normal people call them. We call them bomb blankets. And this radio actually has a triple layer bomb blanket over that 4-pill. It had to. It was getting neurology. It was making the displays like. Now it doesn't do none of that. We got it turned all the way up right now. Audio. The counter has a little bit of roll. I'm going to take care of that when we finish this video. Yet one more thing to debug. But that's okay. We can do that. I think I know what's causing that. Anyway, yeah, this and that right there. I go ahead and make the video. Yeah, it's working perfect. Now, a little while ago, this wasn't flipping on me, but I'm going to figure out what's going on before we box it up. So, Ken, for the most part, you're done. All the important stuff is in. It's working. This old radio still ain't happy I sold it to you, because every time I see it, it wants to throw fits and stay. So here's your baby. We'll get the lids and the goodies and that little quirk right there out of it. I hope it does what you need it to do. The rest of you guys that have been waiting and waiting and waiting, there's still a few of you. Anthony on the East Coast, your DAC is in progress. Your 99V2 chassis, 2 tubes. We got Mr. Hogg out there. He's got a roller cart bird cage, 2 3500Zs, but in a roller cart. We got another guy getting a single tube bird cage. These birds are going to be pooping on all you guys before long. Pentalab tubes, none of them are playing. These are going to be nice amps. We've got Alan in Champaign. He's got a 5-pill coming. We got Moose and Gator up here. So we're at the end of the pile. Last year, this time, we had over 20 custom units to do. We basically didn't take much work in it all year, and now we're down to, I think, 4. And at the end of that 4, a new video will be made, because things are going to change here at the Frankenstein shop. That's what they've been calling it around here in Chicago. So, Ken, there you go, buddy. It is here. It is alive. It has evolved. I don't think there's much more we can do to this. And if you come up with any ideas, maybe keep them to yourself. This poor old radio is we don't do anything to them that I don't know is going to last, but even this one's a little bit pushing it on the far side for me, dropping a 4-pill in this radio. This radio, if you guys just saw it in the beginning, came out of my junk pile. Didn't have a face, didn't have meters, didn't have a counter. And after months and months of rebuilding it, it came out to be a very nice 2000. So now I'm just glad to see it's got a good home with somebody who's got the wherewithal and the love for the radio to keep it as cool as it was when it was new. However, bring it into the fucking century. Bring it up to date. Okay. So Kenneth, there you go, Bubba. If you got any questions, give me a call. The rest of you guys, 7-3, thank you for your patience. All you guys have been waiting forever, but the ones that have gotten these units after waiting for forever and a day, tell you it's their favorite unit in whatever arena they're playing with. An amplifier, Super Duty radio. George Plockton's is going to be a beast. That's good. That's another one. So that's 5. So The channel is back up. Some things are going to change. You're going to be hearing a lot about BNC Electronics in West Virginia. Those are my new partners. We are starting a new. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. We're starting a new American radio company, guys. I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to do our best to make it happen. I'm going to do another video. We have our own custom chassis. This isn't like what you guys do, what I used to do for you guys, or what I do now for you guys. When you send me a DAC or this thing, I take what you got, or I take the DAC case, and we put a modern radio in it, freak display, all stuff you want, tubes, whatever. These new radios are going to be brand new, top to bottom, left to right, totally mine and BNC, Larry and Chris over there, the Three Stooges, I guess you could call us. We're coming out with an American-made base station, and we hope it takes off. 12 to 10 meters, 200 watt PEP output, tube type output, two-piece unit like the old Brownings. Customer service right here on this freaking continent that speaks English properly. It's going to be something we're checking out. Evolution RF is what's coming on that. We were out there with a prototype for a couple weeks, beating up some people, and it got boring when every time we came to the channel, they'd leave. But look, we are going to be using a Striker 959 chassis. I'm going to go into this real quick. We're going to be using a Striker 959 chassis, but my tube design, it's going to have an original face, and like I said, it's going to be a two-piece unit. So you have dual wireless microphones, not Bluetooth, where you guys are having to get them to pair up all the time. 150 feet wireless mics that can be ran simultaneously individually, and a Vox circuit. Plus a 450 if you want to plug your D104. It's going to be a kick-ass radio, guys. It's a radio for radio operators, built by radio operators. That's what's coming. My wife found a cool thing on Facebook. So we didn't come to play the game. We came to change it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to see what happens. So hold on to your jaws, Katie. We ain't coming back this way. Kenneth, I'm proud of it. I hope you like it. 7-3s, all y'all be blessed. We'll see ya.